my boss's name was Neil. He would let me, jump over and make pizzas every once in a while. And then, I graduated from doing dishes to, like, making pizzas. And then eventually working, like, the other station, which is, like, appetizers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a really just kind of like a generic pasta and pizza concept. We had, like, mostaccioli and red sauce. And we had, like, fettuccine Alfredo and, like, all this stuff. And then it eventually grew into a catering company. And I followed him around for a while, just kind of like, because he took a chance on me. Wasn't exactly like a great kid.
Gotcha.
Not like I wasn't like a bad kid and like that I was mean to people or anything. I just like I got into a lot of like drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he always gave me chances.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. How long did you work with him?
I worked with Neil on and off for probably a total of like 8 years.
8 years. Wow.
Yeah, so like I went after I did that. When I graduated high school, I wanted to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So I went to a community college called Moraine Valley. And
did you know what you wanted to teach specifically,
no,
or you just?
In all honesty, I think that I was just in like a haze of not knowing what I wanted to do, and I don't know. I think that I was like a dreamer. And for some reason, I liked talking to people, and I liked kids and stuff, so I wanted to teach kids.
Got you.
But the more I went through school, I was like, just because I like kids doesn't mean that I should be a teacher. I didn't even like teachers when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I was also I was very heavy into hallucinogens. So
what were you taking at the time?
A lot of mushrooms, and then that turned into a couple friends of mine started selling acid, and so I would help them.
I've been there before.
Yeah, we'd be in my buddy Mark's basement, like blotting out sheets. And
yeah,
it was when acid was in paper still.
Yeah. Now it comes in a vial and shit.
Yeah, now
it's
it's all over the place.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I remember the first time I saw acid dropped on a sweet tart, I was like, "This is the future."
Yeah. I had a bunch of liquid acid and I dropped it on a bunch of Altoids. And the way I would do it was I went on this vacation. I won't disclose which one so you guys can't call me out. And I just basically would eat random mints during the day. All right, so when I got home, I maybe had like 10 mints left, and 3 of them I could tell had it on it. And then it turned brown.
Really?
It like went bad. And I had some more in another vial, and it just turned brown. And
oh, that's weird.
Like, what the fuck? And then somebody was like, "Yeah, you should have kept it in the freezer."
Oh yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acid goes in the freezer.
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time that like myself or friends of mine have had like sheets of acid that we've just had in the freezer for fucking like years. Just cause at this point, I'm just afraid to take acid anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't want to. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, like, I've regained my my love relationship with mushrooms just like through microdosing and kind of like easing my way back into it. But no, I take microdoses probably like three times a week, 4 times a week.
Yeah, gotcha. What amount would be in that microdose?
We'll take like, I'll take like I get pills from a friend of mine, JD. You can get them in like 0.25 grams.
Heard.
So I'll take 1 or 2 of those. It's not enough to like trip, but it's enough to like take the edge off. I take them pretty much for anxiety.
Okay, I see that. I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I had a horrible car accident, and after the car accident, I didn't actually get hurt, and that was what I think left me like weird, because I felt like, am I undead?
What up?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
This is David.
Nice to meet you, man. So yeah, I just took a bunch of it, and through some bad trips and good trips, I got back to where I needed to get to.
Yeah,
but I don't think I could have done it by myself.
No doubt.
So I was grateful to have it.
There's healing. There's like a lot of healing qualities for stuff like that, and like I think that I didn't realize it when I was young because I just would take as much as I could to have like the most like obscure experience that I could.
Yeah.
But now I know like everything is okay in moderation, and yeah, I mean my parents always said if it grows in the ground, it's probably okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to do it. Where were we in your trajectory here?
I had just I dropped out of Moraine Valley to be a teacher because I realized that I was a shithead and I didn't want to be a teacher.
Yeah.
And aimlessly, I was just like having a conversation with my mom about what I should do. And she's like, well, you've been working at Salinas for a long time. Why don't you go to culinary school?
Okay.
And so I did some research, and like culinary school is fucking expensive.
Yep.
So I went and looked at a bunch of different schools, and they're like, yeah, your tuition's going to be $45,000.
I'm still paying this shit off.
I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found a junior college that had a culinary program called in Joliet.
Okay.
And so I ended up doing that. I was able to make my way all the way through school for about $10,000 or $11,000. And get my associate's degree. And there I met a chef that was competed on the Culinary Olympics team for the United States.
Holy shit, okay.
And he ran like a pseudo competition team through the school that was through the ACF, the American Culinary Federation.
Yeah.
Where we would compete in like student competitions.
Holy shit.
And so he convinced me to join the competition team. And for some reason, I think that it was just like that was like the boost that I needed to find out what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I necessarily had a knack or anything for cooking. I just think that I liked the organization of it. Mm-hmm. Like, I've had super bad ADHD my whole life.
I hear you.
And
the same. Having
to like organize things and like to be really meticulous, and it made me realize how bad my OCD actually was too.
Yeah.
And just like keep everything really clean, and I don't know, it kind of like shook me into realizing that this is something that I could do. Mm-hmm. And so I ran with it, and I competed a lot in the competition team, and we got a couple gold medals, and we did a bunch of stuff. And then after that, I ended up apprenticing with that chef for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. We went all over. We competed like in culinary competitions across the country, and it was great.
What did these competitions entail? Like, what were the different...
So the student competitions would be pretty much, you'd go in, there'd be a skills test.
Yeah.
So there'd be 4 of us in the team, and one person has to break down a duck or a chicken as fast as you possibly. There's like time limits.
Yeah.
As fast as you can and as clean as you can, and present it as clean as you can. And there's like certified master judges and master chefs walking around with clipboards like judging you. And then one person has to make a pastry cream and a pie crust. The other person has to do knife cuts. So you have to tourne a potato. You have to do a julienne of carrots and a concassé of tomato.
Okay.
But it all has to be done super, super clean, super meticulous. It's like there's judges literally like marking you off if you like put your towel in the wrong place, and like it was
so
kind of
it's like
wild.
Form. It's like
all
kung
about
fu
form. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was just really, really, really meticulous.
Yeah.
And like then the second part of the competition was everybody on all the teams was given a certain dish to make. And it was 3 different courses, so each person on the team had to make a different course.
Yeah.
And then one person was kind of like a floater, like doing like knife cuts or doing whatever, and then you had to present it and yada yada. And it was fun.
What was the training like? Did you just concassé 80 tomatoes a day?
Yeah,
basically.
So like it was during school, so you finish school, you go to all your classes, and then we had practice. So we'd practice the menu, and we'd practice the knife cuts, and we'd be there for 5-6 hours at the end of the night after we went to school all day.
Just hitting it.
Just practicing.
Yeah.
And I really liked the camaraderie
that
came with like being part of a team. Mm-hmm. And after I did competitions, after I stopped apprenticing, one of the people that I was on the team with, his name's Endar.
Yeah.
We traveled around like the Midwest and a little bit towards the East Coast and stuff to different ACF professional competitions, and we competed in a bunch of professionals, which is essentially just a mystery basket competition.
Okay.
So you go in there.
So early chopped.
Yep. Yeah, you go in there. There's 10 different chefs. You have your own station. You get a box. It has a sockeye salmon, leeks, this, all these different ingredients, and then you have 30 minutes to write out a 4-course menu, and then you have to produce the menu.
Does this happen
for
today?
4 judges. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because that sounds like a good circuit to get into for a little bit. What's the prize money like?
No prize money.
I don't know if I'm going to get into that then.
Yeah. There's no prize money. It was kind of just like it's one of those things. Like every time I go back to my mom's house, she like tries to get me to take all these medals back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want those.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool when I did it, but like I don't know.
Maybe, I mean, you can repurpose them here and have maybe medals for your VIP guests. This is your 100th visit. I won this at ACF 1994. You
took 17 shots today.
Yeah, exactly.
Congratulations.
Here you go. You didn't fall over. So, after you did those professional competitions, where did you land?
So, as I was doing those, the guy that I had mentioned earlier, Mark, that I was pretty much like bouncing back and forth between my mom's house and living in his basement.
Yeah.
Still taking a fair amount of drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And he overdosed.
Okay.
And he passed away. And at that point, I was like, I gotta get out of here. He's just a really close friend.
Yeah.
And so I packed up all my stuff and I drove to California without a plan.
Yeah.
And I kind of hopped around in different kitchens and vineyards and farms and stuff, and I just worked at random places over the course of a couple years.
What towns?
Just north of Santa Barbara in the Santa Ynez Valley.
Okay.
So Los Olivos, Santa Ynez, yeah.
And so, if you left without a plan, when you got there, sort of like, how did you find your first job?
I like staged around.
Okay. So you just like saw a restaurant, you're like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, I had a little bit of money saved up, but I slept in my car. And I bought a monthly pass to the YMCA so I could take showers every day.
Yeah.
Eventually, I ended up finding places to live on different farms and vineyards. If you help with like the crop or with the livestock, they'll give you really, really cheap rent.
So that's a great experience for you then.
Yeah, it was great.
Learning a lot of stuff.
A lot of exploring.
Yeah.
A lot of soul searching.
Yeah.
And then after, I mean, the reason I went out there was because I wanted to kind of gain a relationship with the food that I was making as opposed to just knowing how much I can manipulate it.
Got you.
And I know California is like,
that's the Mecca right there.
That's the place you go for.
Yeah.
For foods.
Yeah.
So, I learned a lot about livestock, learned a lot about growing, and a lot about just a lot about life and enjoying life. And when I was ready to come back, I came back and I did a lot of different stages again around this city.
Yeah.
I moved up to the city and
where'd you stage in the city?
All over the place,
just literally everywhere.
Every Michelin-star restaurant that I could get in the door.
Got you. What were the Michelin star restaurants here at that time? Well, Linea, right?
Linea, L2O, Schwa, the Peninsula Hotel.
Okay.
Graham Elliott was there.
There is a lot of history in this town. Like being here and I was hanging out at Temperus the other day with the cooks, and they're like hearing them like, oh yeah, this guy worked here, and then he worked here, and then he worked here. I'm like, there's a lot of history here.
Yeah, and my last stage was at Blackbird.
Okay.
And I just liked how that kitchen felt. It wasn't as rigid as some of the other ones that I went to.
Yeah.
And so I took the job there as a lunch cook.
Okay.
Excuse me. And the rest is kind of history. I ended up staying at Blackbird for 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just under 10 years.
Got you.
After the first 2 years, first year I was a lunch cook, then I graduated to being a dinner cook.
Okay.
After that, I graduated to being a junior sous chef and then a sous chef.
Who was the CDC there at the time?
David Posey.
Okay.
He has a restaurant called Elska.
Yeah, I'm actually going to meet him right after this.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. What up, Dave?
I'm gonna meet him there.
Nice.
I love this. Travel around, talk to chefs in their restaurant when it's empty.
That's great.
I mean,
Yeah, I worked for David for a long time, and then when David went to go start Elska, Paul, who was the person that runs pretty much One Off, he was the original chef of Blackbird.
Yeah.
He asked me if I would want to take the role as the chef de cuisine.
Whoa. What year was this?
2015.
2015, okay.
And I said, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I've seen the way this restaurant's been run for 5 years. It's time to just jump in.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, and it was a lot of fun. And then in 2017, he promoted me to executive chef, which was like, for him, it was a big deal. Like, and all for me, like it was a big deal because I got a raise.